Okay, this is Abigail Roberts answering for Western Religions interview. All right, Abigail. So, the first question is, do others you know think that religious diversity is a good thing? And what do you think is the basis for their view?
I think the majority of the people within my community that I know believe that religious diversity is not a good thing. I think they believe that diversity in expression of religion is a good thing, but that should all be within the same religion. I think I live within a community that seeks to evangelize and seeks to convert and seeks to share to those around them their religion with the hopes of that religion becoming the one core religion of the community.
All right. And the second question is, do you think that religious diversity is a good thing, and why?
I believe that religious diversity is a good thing. I think it's a good thing to interact with. I wouldn't say it's something that is my end goal, but I appreciate listening to those of different opinions because it strengthens my own beliefs and it strengthens my ability to defend and understand them in a more holistic way.
All right, so this is Mom recording her answers to the questions. So, Mom, the first question is, do others you know think that religious diversity is a good thing? And what do you think is the basis for their view?
I think that I know some people that think that religious diversity is a good thing. And I know some other people, oddly enough, mainly Christians, who think that religious diversity is not a good thing. And what was the second part of that?
What do you think their basis is for their view?
Oh, for the Christians, I think that their basis is of thinking that it's not a good thing is that they, obviously they wish that everybody would be a follower of Christ so that they can, have that faith that they would share with them and go to heaven with them someday. People that are non-Christians that I think that religious diversity is a good thing. I think that they're in the camp of there's many ways to get to heaven, and so that's why they think it's a good thing.
All right, great. And the second question is, do you think that religious diversity is a good thing, and why?
And why? I also wish that everybody knew and accepted Jesus as their personal savior. I think that religious diversity within the Christian community, meaning like different denominations, is a good thing. Because I think that it becomes dangerous when you get one group that just thinks that their interpretation of the Bible is all the right way, because we're just humans, so we mess up and think things are one way when they're not always correct. So I think that, as far as religious diversity, meaning different denominations of Christianity, I think that that's a good thing. I think that religious diversity, just like all the different world religions, is not a great thing, but I think it's just a fact of the world that we live in. And it's not either a good thing or a bad thing, it just is.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. This is Dad answering questions for the interview survey. Okay, Dad, so do others you know think that religious diversity is a good thing? And what do you think is the basis for their view?
Well, there are definitely two groups that I interact with a lot. The Christians that I know at church, and also the ones I know at work, and the non-Christians. The Christians definitely believe that religious diversity is more like, similar to the Old Testament when they started to worship other gods and things like that, and they think that that's just a bad thing. It's sin because it's putting other stuff before God. The people that I know that are not Christians, it seems pretty obvious to me. One of them, as a matter of fact, is the Universal Unitarian. So they, of course, believe that all religious diversity is fantastic. They just think that, everybody should be doing their own thing, whatever that may be. Worship the sun, worship the moon, worship the trees, whatever. And that is just great. So it's I'm okay, you're okay, all that. Don't impose your stuff on me. And I know this other guy who's an atheist, and I believe his religious diversity is that don't challenge me with, actual belief in some sort of benevolent God, because his life has shown him there isn't one. So, anyway.
Good. And the second question is, do you think that religious diversity is a good thing, and why?
I think if you talk about religious diversity as worshiping other gods than the God of the Bible, I think it's a bad thing, because it is drawing people away from who their Savior is. If you talk about diversity within Christianity, meaning that this guy believes in pre-tribulation, that guy believes in post-tribulation, that kind of stuff, the things that the Bible does not delineate, I believe that that's very important, that people should not be all believing the exact same set of rules when the Bible does not lay them out. If, you talk about should women be be a pastor, for instance, there seems to be a little bit of each in the Bible, and if this group believes this and this other group doesn't, okay, I think that's fine. There's room for both. But as far as the fundamentals of Christ dying on the cross for us, diversity from that is just pushing people off a cliff.
Okay. This is Abby doing the interview for Western Religions. Okay, Ab.
Okay.
So, do others you know think that religious diversity is a good thing? And what do you think is the basis for their view?
I think that most people that I know think religious diversity is a good thing, because if there was just one dominant religion, then if some people, it would feel more like a forced thing than like something with choice. And so it would be like, I don't know, like it's almost like how it would kind of be like the government got involved too if there wasn't diverse religion. And so that's where it would become all like jumbled with if you were part of that certain belief system or not.
Okay. Do you think that religious diversity is a good thing, and why?
I think it is a good thing because it gives people the freedom of choice, just like how God gave us the freedom of choice to choose to follow him or not. And so it just gives people, I don't know, the liberty to practice what they want.
Okay, this is Dr. Beatty for the Western Religions interview. Okay, so do others you know think that religious diversity is a good thing? And what do you think is the basis for their view?
I think the community I'm involved in at home is probably a little less tolerant than the community that we have here on campus. But I would say that the church that we're involved in now is far more open to express, I don't want to say religion, but spiritual expressions that are Christian oriented, and they don't all have to be in line one with another. I think there are some denominations that are a little bit more, conservative in that way, but the church we're in now represents a much wider socioeconomic scale, and so I'm not surprised that there's more, diversity is not the right word perhaps, but just there's more thoughts about who God is and who he can be in their lives. I find it to be pretty healthy because, the word cannot be changed, but each person that reads it at every point in their life, it's like, oh, a new lesson, and it's the same passage. So it seems to me that since God is in every person, he must be diverse. Therefore, I think that people, it just seems healthier that way. Like, I like hamburgers, but not every meal.
So, do you think that religious diversity is a good thing, then?
Yes. Of course, I believe in only God the Father and the Holy Spirit and Jesus. So, from a Christian's perspective, I would say yes. Can it be expressed in multiple ways through that lens? Yes. I'm still, like a lot of people in the world, trying to come to grips with people who have a religious view that is not, deocentric. And I don't want to be intolerant, but I'm skeptical. So I guess my big answer is yes, but I'm not as unqualified on a yes to the second question as I was on the first one.
Okay. This is Kelly for Western Religions. Okay, Kelly, so do others you know think that religious diversity is a good thing? And what do you think is the basis for their view?
I would guess that most people I know would just selfishly think that religious diversity is not a good thing because everyone thinks they're right, and so the more diversity we have, the more division in the church there is, and the more arguments people have over small things, probably that don't affect salvation. But that's just my guess because I don't often talk about it with them.
Okay. And the second question is, do you think that religious diversity is a good thing, and why?
I think it is a good thing because then it challenges us to know why we believe what we believe, and it challenges us to just keep thinking about scriptural things and what we believe as truth, as the basis of our truth in our faith. So I think that's great, and it just teaches us to be accepting of other people's way of thinking. Even if we think it's wrong, we should be able to listen to other people so that we can be loving to others that aren't Christians as well. And yeah.
This is Colleen doing the Western Religions interview. Okay, Colleen, so do others you know think that religious diversity is a good thing? And what do you think is the basis for their view?
I think it's like it kind of goes both ways because I think people who are religious kind of think that everybody should be their religion because they think it's the right one. So like on one hand, it kind of depends like whether their religion like values diversity and like values acceptance of like other things. And if it does, then I guess they like value diversity, but if not, then I feel like not so much because they feel like they're right and other people are wrong, so therefore like everybody should be their religion. And I guess that'd be their basis, is like their religious viewpoints on that.
Okay. And the second question is, do you think that religious diversity is a good thing, and why?
I think religious diversity is a good thing because it gives people like different points of view, but I also feel like people need to be like a little bit laid back on it, because like it's important to like keep like different perspectives in like mind, but at the same time, like if people are like too overpowering about it, then they're kind of pushing their views onto other people, which I don't think is right. So like as an atheist who used to be a Catholic, like I don't like it when people try and enforce like any religious viewpoint on me, or like on like I think a lot of things that are kind of religious viewpoints have become like politicized. So because of that, I think that like religious diversity is kind of in a weird spot right now. Yeah, it's like both ways. Like it's good to have like, it's good for people to have unique perspectives, but it's bad for people to think that their unique perspective should be everybody's perspective.
Okay. This is Eden doing Western Religions interview. Okay, Eden, so do others you know think that religious diversity is a good thing? And what do you think is the basis for their view?
I think in general, they don't. I think sometimes people seem to be, they're biased towards their own religion, so they think everyone else should have the same views as them. So growing up in a household where my dad's a pastor, and I was raised in a strict kind of Lutheran standpoint and church community, like whatever you were doing is the correct one, and that's how other people should assimilate. So that's why I think that, yeah.
Okay. And do you think that religious diversity is a good thing, and why?
I think it is, just because, looking at it through like a historical standpoint and stuff, it brings a lot of cultures together, but also makes them very diverse. It's just a unique aspect that you find around the world, and you can't really diminish one culture over another or somehow separate things like that. So I think it just, makes different cultures unique in their own point.
Sounds good. This is Kiley doing the Western religions interview. Okay, Kiley, so do others you know think that religious diversity is a good thing? And what do you think is the basis for their view?
I do believe that others think that religious diversity is a good thing, and I think it all plays into how they can express themselves as far as like their identity, and I think religion plays a huge role in that. And so people want to feel like free to be who they are, especially today, and I think that carries over into religions and being accepting of all like kinds of religions. That's basically it.
Okay. And do you think that religious diversity is a good thing, and why?
I would say part of me wants to say, like, yes, I think it's a good thing, because I feel like when we get stuck in this mindset where we think it's, like, how we think is the only right way to think, or how we believe is the only right way to believe, can get really, I don't know, I think we can get really big-headed about it, and kind of become our own worst enemy, and treat people fairly terribly because of we believe that we're the only ones who can think this way, or like there's only one way to believe. And I think we have a tendency to believe we're always right, which is 99.9% of the time never the case. And so I think religious diversity at least provides different perspectives on things, and I don't know like necessarily which one is right, which one is wrong, but then when you bring, as far as like me being like a Christian and having like the Bible being like the word of truth and like the only thing that's like, like real and true, it's hard to have religious diversity because I feel conflicted, because part of me wants to be like, I'm very about having those like conversations, but then I think sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, like it just becomes really easy to be like, how to have that like out of the religion experience and be like, what if like everything I believe isn't real? So yeah. Okay.
This is Travis for the Western religions interview. Okay, Travis, so do others you know think that religious diversity is a good thing? And what do you think is the basis for their view?
I think from interacting with a whole host of people, especially like my undergrad friends, I would say no, I don't think they think it's a good thing. I think a lot of them are set in their own ways of, this is my religion, or this is the denomination within Christianity that I'm from, and I think this is the way it is, and you're wrong. Or, like, I hear where you're coming from, but I still think, like, your theology is wrong, or, like, your religious views is wrong. So I think there might be some out there that I've interacted with, but I would say the majority of people I've interacted with in my friend circle, which challenges me sometimes. I would say, like, no, they think their way is, like, the right way.
Okay. No. And do you think that religious diversity is a good thing, and why?
I think it's a good thing. I think everyone is entitled to their own beliefs. I think, in the end, like, one friend once told me, it was like, I'm a Christian, and if in the end there's no Jesus, like, my life is still better because I believed in something that my parents taught me about, and I believe it. Also, if I choose not to be a part of any religion, and then Jesus is real, then like I lose out. So I think everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I think that whole people say like someone has to be right, someone has to be wrong. There's a Jesus, there isn't. But I think everyone has a different twist on it. And what I believe is what I believe, and I'm open to hearing other people's beliefs, but I'm never one to like shoot them down if theirs is totally like quote unquote wrong or quote unquote untrue. I think everyone, as I said, is open to their own belief.
All right. Thank you.